Hey everyone, welcome to our next episode of the amazing Brave Entrepreneur podcast. I'm your host, Jena Rodriguez, and I am your brand, business, and brave strategist, helping entrepreneurs really unleash their fullest potential and be profitable in their business, as well as live out their brand and vision to their fullest vision as well. So I am so excited. You see her on the screen, and I'm excited to bring to you straight from Scotland. I love our international guests. And our friend today is Jennifer Hardie. How are you? Welcome.
I am so well. Thank you so much for having me on this podcast show. I am so excited to meet you and obviously say hi to all your audience. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. I couldn't wait. I know it took us a few times to get us scheduled, and I was just really excited to meet you. I've checked you out online. You know how we all stalk each other, right?
Yeah, people try and pretend that they don't stalk each other, but they totally
Yeah. There's something wrong. Right. Exactly. So please take a moment and just introduce yourself to the world at large, and so everybody can get to know you.
Yeah, so my name is Jennifer Hardie, and I am I'm a serial entrepreneur. I am a strategist, business strategist. I am very much results driven. Yeah. I'm a very spiritual person as well, but I'm not into like mindset coaching or anything like that. I'm very much business coaching. I want to elevate your business. I want you to take to 0 to 6 and 7 figures. But I want to do it in a with lots of integrity. And with passion.
Yeah, right. Wake up and get going, right?
Wake up and get going. Take action every single day. That is me.
I love it. That's why you and I connect so well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm all about. I'm like, we got to just get up and take action. So I love that. And of course you have an amazing family and story. And so I definitely want to dive right in. And so it's like being the entrepreneur that you are, what has been the bravest thing that you've had to really go through to get to where you are today?
There's been probably loads of moments, to be honest, but I think one of the bravest parts, just you talking about my children there, would have been coming back into entrepreneur world after having my third child. But not only that, I was really, really sick after having her. I had severe postnatal depression. Never had that before. Never suffered from it with any of my other kids. Was actually at quite a nice place in my life. There was nothing to say that I should have been hit with this.
Wow.
You know, I think these things don't have a rhyme nor reason, and they don't have I'm going to choose this person. That is just, if it hits you, it hits you.
Yeah.
And after having Joy, I was really, really poorly. And at the same point, I also ran a few other businesses.
Wow.
And I basically had to let them go and pass them on to other people so that I could get better.
Wow.
Yeah. Then came back in, to the kind of entrepreneurial world where I was starting to think about my coaching business and stuff. It was a bit like, I was terrified. I was like, no one's going to take me seriously. I've had to give businesses away because I was so sick, and all these kind of things was constantly going through my head. And I think that was probably one of the biggest moments of bravery for me, was like, do you know what? I don't give a shit what anyone says.
Yeah.
I'm ready for this more than I ever have been in my life. And it was almost like that had to happen before I actually took action on, well, actually, what do I want?
Yeah.
Where is my genius zone? Where do I feel happiest? Where can I give people results? So I think that is probably one of the most bravest things. But obviously, there was people talking behind my back, and there was people saying there's no way that she can do that. Who does she think she is to be able to go and do her own business again? So that's brave. It's brave to stand up against the naysayers,
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting that you bring that conversation up. I think it's coming across my radar a lot, even in my own life. Like I'm really, I'm always pushing myself, and it's like, what's my next brave, right? And playing bigger at every level, really has to, you have to push yourself. And I think even for myself, that's one of the things that I recognized as what was holding me back, was worrying about the naysayers, worrying about the judgment and things like that. So it's interesting that you brought that up. And And so what do you feel is the flip or the switch that if you're, it's like, that's going to happen. You may have naysayers, you may have people, even your family going, you can't do this or whatever. What do you say to someone that's like right in the middle of that? What's the one way that they can get past it?
I think someone gave me a beautiful quote, and it was like, what other people think of you is none of your business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, wow. So it was almost like, start a business, mind yours.
Mind yours, exactly.
I love it. It's like, just start your business, mind your own business. Don't worry about what anyone else is saying. Because at the end of the day, most of the time, the people that are saying these things don't actually have the bravery to step into who they're meant to be.
Right.
And as I look back now, the people that probably had most effect in those days and those moments when I was feeling scared and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to post a little bit about my story here, I'm terrified. Like, it would always be the people coming back that were still in the same place and hadn't moved.
Yeah.
I wanted to think to myself as well, why am I letting people's opinions affect me who don't A, inspire me, or B, support me?
That's right.
And very, very quickly, and I honestly, it was like a matter of a week, I went through my social media accounts and I actually just started to unfollow. And not unfriend. I'm not that kind of person. I was not that brave at that point, but I was unfollowing people because I didn't really want to see them. I didn't want to be reminded that they were watching my every move.
Sure.
And it obviously mattered to me a lot that these people were watching, or else I would just have taken action anyway. So I started to unfollow, started to really think to myself, okay, the people that I want in my life are supporters or people who influence and inspire me. And if they're not those people,
yeah,
then I have to take action and take a step away from them. That was the first point of me being able to start my actual business.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. And so I love that about it's like, just take action, comment that you made, because I think it's almost like, if you've got fears or you have thoughts or you're thinking too much about it, then you paralyze yourself. And it's like, so take the action instead. And the other thing I just heard was, and I've said this before somewhere, but it's just like, the more we take action and get our brave on and against all of that noise, the more we actually give them permission to eventually step into their potential if they choose it. We can't do it for them, right? We can't do it for them. And so I think it's amazing that you are, number one, just, you've come through the hardship. You've come through something unexpected. And I'm clear. It's hard to pass up a business and, it's like, go through the failure conversation or it didn't work out. And then for you to pick back up and just, like get back in the game is huge. And, it's not the end of the world and you can do it. How many years ago, I don't know how old your youngest is. How old's your youngest?
She is 3 now. She's
3. Oh,
3.
wow.
Yeah. Wow. So it was, just about 3 years ago it happened. And it was awful time. I've never been in such a dark space in my entire life. I think it was lots of things from the past coming up. I'm a really positive person. And I think I spent a lot of time looking after other people when adversity hit. And then that was my moment, obviously, to be like, okay, actually, I'm not feeling good. There's something wrong here. Like, I'm not 100% firing from all cylinders. And I was in charge of hundreds of kids. I had a little agency as well. It was really successful. But I had to just say, do you know what? No, I need to get better again.
Wow.
So it took months and months out of my business for it, just to get myself better, and then to start to design a life that I actually didn't need a vacation from, which is a cheesy saying, but it's so true. Yeah. I wanted a life where I wasn't working, for example, 90 hours a week. Right. I was constantly there with my theatre skills. I wanted a life where I could travel, where I could take time off and be with my 3 kids, because I've got 3 altogether, and with my husband and with my dog and everyone else. But I also wanted to not just be inspiring for children and young adults, but for me, I wanted to really speak and work with women predominantly because, well, I am one. So I feel as I've got a lot in common with them. It was scary time, because you do sometimes, if anyone's out there is listening, has actually suffered from any kind of mental health or depression, you do feel at that point as if you're never going to get through the other end.
Right.
You know, it is pretty terrifying. But how I got better literally was meditation. I found meditation. I started to follow loads of people I was inspired by online, and started to try and put together, okay, where's all my skills? Where's all the things I love doing? Okay, so next, what are the things that could possibly make me money? Okay, next, how can I put that into a huge big business, and set that alight? So
that's awesome.
So, yeah.
You know, and I think that's what's really powerful. I think it's about, when you're in that dark place, or clearly it feels a little hopeless or what have you, ultimately it's what questions are you asking, and are you asking yourself the right questions?
Yeah.
Right. And no matter what, even if it's a daily basis and just the daily grind of business and entrepreneurship, and we have to ask the right questions, and you are asking yourself, it's like, what about this? And what's going to make me money, and what's going to create the bigger business, and all of that. And also looking at, well, what kind of business lifestyle do I really want? And I think people are always, have a tendency, not all, clearly, right? But if anyone's listening that finds themselves in this, like I can't, and I don't know what to do, and I'm lost. And, that's the thinking you keep perpetuating. Yeah. Right. And so I think just the fact that you are able to ask the right questions in that moment, even in the hardest moment of life, then the answers start to show up. So I thought that sounded super powerful.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I will say something else that believe it or not, and this is my husband. So I think it's really important for people to realize that sometimes the people that we love can actually be the ones that are making things a bit more tricky, because he said to me, why don't you just go and get a normal job? Why are you doing this to yourself? Just go and work Monday, Friday, 9 to 5. It'll be fine. How do you even know what you're going to do is going to work? Yeah. So, and this is a person that was closest to me in the world saying those things. I can remember when he said it to me. We actually had this conversation at the weekend there. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I can remember going up to my bedroom and just breaking my heart and going, I'm putting my family through this. I'm putting myself through this. I don't know if it's going to work. And there was something just inside that said, you need to do it. You need to do it. You have to do it. You're not giving up. You're not giving up.
Yeah.
And I just went full throttle after that. But we were actually at a music festival last weekend, which we missed the year before because we couldn't afford to go.
Wow.
So it was a massive moment for us. Yeah, it was like, oh my goodness, look at this. It's been a year. So I only launched my business in May of last year. So it's been a year now.
Wow.
And it was my birthday just a couple of weeks ago. And he was like, he's like, I'm so sorry. He said sorry at the time as well. But he was just like, I'm so sorry for even kind of like doubting 1 ounce of who you are, what you could have become. So yeah, sometimes you have to go a bit against that, which is really tricky.
Well, and it's interesting you say that because, even I've experienced that too. Like, families, because they just go straight to like, well, make it like protect and make it easy, and their own fears, show up.
Absolutely.
And for me, I don't know if this is true for you, but it felt like in the moment, I've had someone say that or, express that. And when I'm in doubt, it's simply the reflection of the doubt that I have.
Yeah.
And I'm in the process of like flipping that doubt. Right. And so they're just kind of mirroring what I'm thinking, that I'm like, can I do this? Right.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, sure. Just go get a job. And it's not malicious or intentional to like hurt or, right. They're just trying to make it go away. They're just trying to make it better. So you've got to stand your ground. You're brave, right? And stay the course. And so congratulations on 1 year, right?
Yeah, 1 year. And actually on our 1 year business, I was in Mykonos with another 11 women who I took out there for a business retreat for a week. Yes. So, and we hit like 1,000 people in our little Facebook community group and stuff. So it was very much a nod from the universe saying, do you know what? Yeah, keep going. You've been brave. I'm going to reward you for it.
You've been brave. Do it. Yeah. I love it. And so it brings up another question for me. So first of all, being just a year ago, and obviously you've made some huge milestones for you to be able to travel and do what you want to do in this last weekend. And so what would you say is really attributed, for those business owners out there, I have a feeling what you might say, but for your perspective to them, what do you think actually helped you grow and scale your business as quick as you have?
Yeah.
And whatever that is. I don't even know the volume of that, but it obviously sounds like you've hit those milestones for yourself. And so what's the trick for people out there kind of hanging out with the idea and, or even in that starting phase where it's like, I'm not getting any traction? What would you recommend?
Well, for the people that are still hanging about with the idea, you've got to take action now. Like literally, as soon as you listen to this, you need to go and you need to be asking questions of, what do people need out there? So if you've got an idea for a course or a program, please go and do a little bit of research and find out what people need and want. And this is what I did first of all. I actually did a little bit of market research, put out a really beautiful questionnaire, asked people, what are the pain points when it comes to their businesses? Because I have done business, so I knew like what my pain points used to be.
That's
so
right.
Things like how to grow on social media, how to get more clients in, how to get more clients who will bring their kids in initially, and then how to get more people into the agency, how to bring more people into my team when I did multi-level marketing. So it was always about that, trying to draw attention to bring people in. So I asked loads of questions. And then off that basis, I designed what a course would look like for me. And it was one-to-one, just VIP. And I didn't price myself too low. I priced myself at a point where I thought, no one's going to buy this.
Nice.
I did. That's what I did. And I was very brave because I was like, oh my goodness, I'm terrified. I've never done this online course before. And I signed up with a coach. That was also another major kind of massive move for me. I didn't want to do it alone. I wanted to fast track. I didn't want to make all the mistakes that I could possibly have made. I didn't want to waste money online building a bloody website that was actually like not even converting. So I hired a coach as well. Asked loads of questions, put this course together. And then just started to enroll clients, and within 10 weeks of launching, I had did my 6 weeks of launch. I did my first 10K month.
Awesome.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I just scaled from there. And another thing I would say, which has been massively impactful, was bringing on team way before I was ready to do it.
Yeah.
So I brought in a virtual assistant. And I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to pay you, but I'm going to try. Obviously I had our first month, but I was like, oh my goodness. Because obviously when you're scaling, you need to know that even though that was a 10K month, a lot of that money just went back into trying to grow and build and doing some Facebook ads and so on.
Coach and whatever.
Big time. So it sounds amazing, but it was actually like, right, now how do I do this every single month and how do I start to do more? Yeah. So I brought in team before I was 100% ready. In fact, I did everything before I was ready. I think that's another thing.
Yes.
I really had to kick procrastination and perfectionism to the curb and say, you know what, it's as perfect as it can be just now. And then when I've scaled a little bit more, I'll go back and do some fixing. Yeah. But as long as I can take people through a process and get them results, and they are happy, then I don't give a shit what my website picture looks like, or I don't really care about, a part of my funnel that's not maybe looking as gorgeous as it should. I just was like, no, I just need to get myself out there. Yeah. And I did hear that this is the year to grow. So I was like, I am not wasting any time waiting until a launch day. I'm just like, okay, it's kind of ready. I'm going to put it out there.
Awesome. Yeah.
But then of course, what's exciting is you can test.
Exactly.
You can test it. And instead of wasting too much time, you can test. And then if it does work, brilliant. You can then go back and perfect.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah.
I love that. And you're like, yes, that was the answer.
Right answer, Jen.
And I was like, we have not talked about this before the call. No. And this is the key. It's like, it is the success factor. And in my opinion, and you nailed it. It's like, get the help, action, test, don't make it perfect. Like, I've been in this game 12 years also, myself. And it's just like, it matters not how perfect it is, how great it is. You've got to throw it out there. And it's like, it's interesting because I'm in this space right now. I'm doing a new webinar. I've got a new course and all that myself, you create new. and you test it, you pre-sell it, and so it's marketable, but it's like right now my webinar's off somehow. Like it's not converting the way as high as I want. So I pull it off, pull it back, and then redo and retest, and it's crazy. It's crazy, but so many people quit right there. That's where they quit. And so I love the fact that you shared. It's like, keep going. Don't make it perfect. Just put it out there. Action, hire. And I love the fact that you hired the coach. I mean, you and me both, right? Are coaches, and you've got to have the fast pass. And the only way to do that is to like listen to someone else that's already figured it out.
Absolutely.
And not try to start from scratch and all of that. So thank you for sharing that, because I didn't know what you'd say, but I was like, I know she's done this. So I'm like, this is great.
I will also say as well, just so for anyone that's listening, like I actually put out my first couple of funnels in some freebie content, and they didn't convert.
Yeah.
It just didn't hit the audience that I was trying to get. It was as simple as that. So they weren't converting. And I know a lot of people that would have went, well, this doesn't work. I'm not going to do it. But I think it was up until like there's two that I've got now that are actually the most highly converting ones. And that was like my 5th and 7th funnel.
Yeah.
Like going through an entire year of figuring out, an entire year of, fixing and trying to perfect a little bit. And so you cannot give up at the first or the second or the third. In fact, you have to keep on going until it works. Simple as that.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I think that's, I want people to hear that. I want people to get that. I mean, even like myself, it's, the first one's not quite working, right? And yet I'm not quitting. I will go 3 years. I'll keep going. I cried after the last one. I was like, it's working. And I'm like, crying. But I'm like, I'm not quitting. So just get over yourself. And I just want people to hear that, because I feel like people, look over there and go, well, it's working for them. Why isn't this first time working for me? And
Absolutely.
The fact that you shared that it's not about the first or the second or fourth or fifth, and it's, so that's a brave master to me, right? That's the brave, is that how committed are you to taking the action and taking it over and over and over until it works, and getting help if you can't figure it out, right? Go ahead and hire the coach or hire the expert. But I think people quit too soon. They're scared to invest in themselves or in team or in the, whatever, because they don't see the money. And, yet I know for myself, it's the biggest motivator, right?
Absolutely.
I'm like,
absolutely.
If I got someone to answer to or pay, I'm like, I'm going to go make the money.
Yeah, 100%. You do. And then all of a sudden you find that you're taking action 10 times more, because you're like,
yes,
whoa, I am not, like, I have to pay this person. I need to go and find out, like, what am I doing? Like, oh my goodness. And and now I've got like 6 people on my team. So I need to work my ass off.
Yes. They got to feed their families, right?
Absolutely. So I'm like, I am taking action every day, whether I'm scared or not. I'm like, I'm doing it.
I love it. And so there was something you said about just to kind of take you back to when you said that you were in that dark place, you were in that, and it kind of hit you, and then you had to respond to it. And you said some things from your past or history were coming up. Would you be willing to share what some of that was?
Yeah, of course. When I was about 21, I had a cousin who was like a brother to me. We grew up together. We were best friends. We did everything together. And he was an extremely talented jockey. And he'd moved to Australia for a while. Yeah, he was incredible. So driven. He was up at 4 a.m. every morning to get the horses, to deal with them, to take them out to ride, to then go and learn more, constantly learning about how to be the best in his field. And he was incredible at what he did, super inspiring for me. But then at the age of 21, he hit a really dark spot, and really sadly, he took his own life. And it was massive for our family. It was the first time that we had really experienced loss. And I think that was quite a lucky thing, because up until that point of 21 years of age, and obviously, there's been people that had passed, but it was always the end of their time here. And there was something beautiful about seeing them pass on and have that kind of next wherever they were in the world, because they were older, But this was the first time that we had been impacted by someone who had chosen suicide, and also someone so young and so inspiring and so incredible at what he was doing. So there was a lot of figuring out and a lot of confusion. And although he did leave a letter, and he was saying that he had been having those thoughts since he was very, very young, like 8-9 years of age.
Wow.
So he had been keeping that for a long time under wraps. But then you start to kind of battle against well, why couldn't I have seen this? Is there something that I could have done? He obviously knew everything about me and always asked me how I was feeling, and we would talk in great depth, and I would ask him the same questions. So I was always like, why could I never have spotted that?
Right.
So, but I managed to bury a lot of it because I had my grandmother to look after and my family, and I just had my first little boy at that point as well. And you bury it and you kind of just go, okay, let's just keep on moving on, and started my theatre schools, and kind of always asked the questions, why on earth would you have done something like that? But never really forgave the situation ever. And then actually when my gran passed away, and then my auntie passed away in quite quick succession before I had Joya too. My gran was like the hierarchy of the entire family. She was like the boss.
Yeah.
So when she passed, that was really impactful again. I was playing Eva Perón actually in Evita, performing at the same time as my Auntie Grace was passing away. So I was up on stage performing a woman who was passing away with cancer, and had to watch my auntie go through exactly the same thing.
Gosh.
So that was really hard. So I think basically what it was all of these things just coming back up to haunt me. And it's like, Jen, you've not dealt with this stuff. You try and pretend that you have, and you are like positive, happy, you try and make sure everyone's okay, but you've got a little bit of work to do on yourself before anything else happens. And then obviously when Joya came along, hormones going everywhere, she was quite poorly, I was poorly, and then that was it. It was like one day hit and I couldn't get out of my bed. I was like, felt as if I was paralyzed, and I cried for days and days and days. Well, it felt like months, but just being in that place. And we had a crisis team come in and look after me and help me, and start to try and rebuild. Jen, again, I had totally forgotten who she was and forgot how to feel. Didn't have any feelings for my husband. It was not nice, not a nice time at all.
Yeah. And I thank you for sharing that, because I think it's like that pretty picture is not always the pretty. And, it's like we have the contrasts in our life, and when we share them and own them, and of course we aren't defined by them. And yet you had this contrast called, it sounded like grief, or, that wasn't dealt with, or, the sadness and all of that, and the pain of all that loss. And I think it's just such a commendable thing that you got your brave on, and you number one, it's like crisis or not, obviously a crisis team comes in, but sometimes we have the 2x4s. Sometimes we have those wake up calls that says, pay attention, right?
Absolutely. My little girl, actually, the day after she came out of hospital, stopped breathing right beside me. Just stopped breathing, and we phoned the ambulance, and the ambulance came in. This was in fact the day before my husband was burying his grandfather as well.
Oh goodness.
So he wasn't being the most supportive person, because he couldn't be, because he was looking for support from me as well. And so anyway, like I said, it was post-traumatic stress and severe postnatal depression I had.
Yeah.
After obviously seeing that happen to Joya, and the ambulance come in, and it just sent me into this dark place. But yeah, it was scary, really, really scary, in fact terrifying. But I really hope that by sharing that as well, that people are out there that maybe have suffered from anything like that they can totally understand that you can get better. I never thought I could when I was there either. I did not. I thought, this is it, I need to get feeling like this. But actually, what I did was go right back to basics. I started to go out just for short walks, started to look up at the trees and birds, all these things that people are very, they say it's cliche. I visited the water as much as I could, sat by the sea for a while. I went to see a monk, actually, who is my uncle's friend, into a little Buddhist vihara place, and sat and cried at him for about 5 hours. And he was just like, just do it. just let it go, just
Yes.
release everything that has to be released. And I remember walking out of there feeling like, oh my goodness, I think I've remembered a little part of who Jen is.
Yeah.
And why she's here and what she's doing. Just by having that time. But all those small things, like, just start to help you get better, and letting go of things that don't serve you, I think
Absolutely.
is hugely important.
Yeah. Emotionally, physically, environmentally.
Emotionally, physically, yeah. Because obviously my theatre skills, 90 hours a week for me when I've got 3 kids wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So the fact that I was able to let that go was huge for me getting better and actually moving into the space where I probably should be now, you know?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And I think that is what the message is for people listening, is that, you know, and I think you said it, it's like whatever's holding us back or whatever we're burying or shoving or not dealing with, you know, it's like, if we don't, it rears their head somewhere, right?
It does, yeah.
And I love the fact that you shared that you embraced it versus like trying to push it away, or, you know, like, I'm good, you know, nothing's happening.
Yeah,
and
no,
it'll
absolutely.
show itself. Yeah. It's really great that you shared that. And so I know I'm sure that's valuable to someone listening. And I know that you know, you and me both have had our ups and downs and, you know, depressions and things like that. I can relate to that. And just coming out of it, finding the right questions to ask ourselves, and be, you know, willing to kind of clear house and clear our mind and all of those things, however that looks. And I'm an ocean girl too. I like being by the ocean. That feels really amazing.
Honestly, I can't wait. We're actually moving to the sea next year. We're moving away from Scotland, and we're going to live by the sea. And it's something, I don't know why. It's just like, it's in I don't know if maybe I was a mermaid in a previous life.
I'm with you.
Honestly, I love the water. I find it really calming. I ask myself lots of questions there.
Me too, yeah.
You know, what am I meant to be doing? How can I inspire? Blah, blah, blah. And it always comes up. I always get the answers when I'm there.
That's amazing. It's so funny. I have to share. I created a couple years ago that I live by the ocean, and without form, you know, kind of like, what does that look like? And I live in Houston, Texas, right? And that's where our home is. And however, one of my best friends from college, she lives in Destin, Florida, which is, I don't know if you've ever heard of it. You should look it up online. It's absolutely stunning and gorgeous water and ocean. And so we had the, you know, amazing opportunity to go visit her and stay in her home. And then every summer since then, like 4 years ago when this first happened, and she said, hey, do you want to house sit for a month? I was like, a month? I'm like, yes. Like, absolutely.
100%.
In a business, I can work from anywhere, right?
Yeah, big time.
Now we do it, my daughter and I, and then my husband visits because he's a musician, so he kind of has work here. But I leave in just a few weeks. And by the time this airs, I might be back, but I live there another month, and it's so exciting to go just be by the water, you know. And so I think I was a mermaid too.
Yeah, big time. It is. It's so beautiful. I love it.
Awesome.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, and thank you for being so vulnerable and transparent about all that. I think people are falling in love with you already, and I can relate to that. I just think, you know, it's amazing to show what's really inside the journey and the story that we show up as, and you've done it beautifully. So as we wrap up, I'd love for people to connect with you and find out more about your business and your business strategy. And you clearly have had success in business, and then obviously had to close it down or what have you, and you're starting over and making it happen again. And all of that adds huge value to people that are starting out as entrepreneurs or want to, you know, take bigger action. So what is the best way to connect with you? What's the web?
Probably jump onto my website and you can find me there. It's getting a facelift at the moment, so hopefully by the time this airs, it's looking beautiful. Remember, I told you it doesn't have to be perfect at the time.
That's right.
Got a year in and now I'm fixing it. Yeah, a year in and now I'm fixing it. It's www.jenniferhardie, and it's HARDIE.me, and you can find me there, or you can find me over on Facebook. I've got a page called The Unstoppable Mastermind, and it's just a little community group where we all hang out and talk about businessy stuff, and it's really cool.
Love it. I love it. And I love the word unstoppable. One of my I don't know who sings it. I forgot who sings it. the song Unstoppable.
Yeah.
It's like one of my, mantras or whatever. I play it when I get pumped up.
I love it. I love it. I listen to Unstoppable every day. I'm like,
yay, good. We can do that together. Awesome. And I know you had some, free resources and things. We're going to put the links in the show notes for that. I think you said one's like a life audit challenge of some sort, and then another one is like more about online marketing.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll make sure those links are in the show notes, and thank you for that gift for
awesome,
our audience. So yeah, this has been amazing. And one final question, I always like to leave this with people, is if this was your last interview.
Yeah.
And this was your last chance to share your message and what you really want the world to know, what would that be?
It would be that I believe that every single woman has exactly what they need inside of them to be unstoppable in every single way.
Got it. Yeah.
That is what I would say.
That's it, right? That's your soundbite.
That's it. That is what I would say.
It's
absolutely.
there.
In family, as a mother, and as a friend, everything. We have it all inside of us.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much for being here. It's been beautiful getting to know you, and hopefully we can play even more together in the future. And it's just been really great. And I love the international things that we do on the show, and that you are open to being here. So thank you again. I really appreciate you. And for everyone watching, let's go get our Brave on. I encourage you every day. So thank you, Jennifer. And I'll talk to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jena.
You're so welcome. Bye, everyone.
Pleasure.
Yes, thank you.